Hi, this is Beth Poss, and welcome to Technology Tools to Support Early Literacy Development, Early Writing. As we explore how to support early literacy development for young students with disabilities, let's create a common understanding of the developmental progression of early writing. Children begin by drawing, with drawings that represent writing. At the scribbling stage, there are marks or scribbles the child intends to be writing. As they move into the wavy scribbles that imitate cursive writing and have a left-to-right progression as the child pretends to write words. At the letter-like forms stage, children make letters and marks that resemble letter-like shapes. As students begin to make letter strings, they create strings of letters that do not create a word, but they're generally written left to right, including uppercase and lowercase letters. At the transitional writing stage, children will have letters with spaces in between to resemble words, letters and words copied from environmental print, and letters may often be reversed. At the invented or phonetic spelling stage, we will see different ways to represent the sounds in words. Children will write the first letter of the word or the beginning and ending sounds to represent the entire word. At the beginning word and phrase writing stage, children will use words with beginning, middle, and ending letter sounds and shorter phrases. At the conventional spelling and sentence writing level, we will start to see the correct spelling of words, and generally, the child's name and words such as mom and dad or early other words are written correctly. There'll be sentences with some punctuation and generally correct use of upper and lowercase letters. The app, Magnetic Letters, shown here, or the Magnetic Board app, allows children to swipe at an iPad screen and have letters appear on a blank background. The magnetic style letters can be easily swiped with a variety of hand positions, including a fist or multiple fingers. While it might be tempting for a parent or a teacher to help the child form a real word, it is important to allow the child in the early stages of scribbling to produce what they like and for an adult instead to acknowledge and label the letters used. A, D, like in your name, David. F, I see an H. Of course, the adult could go in and play themselves while modeling for a child. I can spell mom. M-O-M spells mom. Now you play. This is the Magnetic Board app. The big difference between the Magnetic Board app shown here and the Magnetic Letters app, which I just showed you, is that on the Magnetic Board app,
G,
the letters are named
D, N,
as the child moves them onto the screen.
D, G.
The letter combinations can also be spoken out loud, although this is something that can be adjusted in the settings.
H, M, N, H, G, D.
There are benefits to both apps. In the Magnetic Board app shown here, a child who is independently playing would get that auditory reinforcement. In the Magnetic Letter app, what is wonderful is if the adult, the teacher or the parent who is with the child, provides the reinforcement by naming the letters that the child forms. Any computer software or app that allows a child access to the keyboard provides an effective means of scribbling, including common programs such as MS Word or Google Docs. This is Clicker Writer on an iPad. A writer can easily switch from selecting images to a keyboard.
U-G-O-T-V-Q.
Clicker Writer from Crick Software has the advantage of being completely switch accessible, including 2-switch step scanning, as well as touch accessible on an iPad or touchscreen Chromebook. It also has settings that support children with visual impairments and has text-to-speech, which can be turned off or on. It is available for Mac, PC, Chromebooks, and iPads. An adult's response to early writing is as important as the tools used. In this short video clip, pay attention to how the adults use a low-tech communication board to allow the child to describe her drawing, and then how the adult acknowledges the student's emergent writing.
What'd you make? Huh? Wow, what is it? Look at. Can you tell me? An umbrella? Making an umbrella. That's what they needed in our book today. In the Napping House book, they needed an umbrella. You wrote the word too. Can you tell me about yours? Oh, and it makes string and paint. What are you talking about? Oh, what are you doing there, Jamie?
Regardless of where a child is on the emergent writing continuum, adults in the classroom need to model writing all day long. Elements of modeling should include thinking aloud while writing in order to make clear the processes that young writers go through as they write. Examples are sounding out words, reading each word aloud as you write, and highlighting conventions, including the why. I start a sentence with a capital letter. I need a 2-finger space so that my reader knows when a word ends and when the next one begins. When a piece of writing is complete, be sure to lead students in reading aloud the finished text. There are so many opportunities for modeling writing, including the morning message, making lists, or even a simple note to the office. Students' names represent an ideal vehicle to teach writing. They are familiar language and contain letters that young children have had an opportunity to become the most familiar with. In addition to putting their names on their papers or artwork, there are many times throughout the day that students can write their name. Sign in, sign up, and sign out provides an opportunity for students to gain practice and is more functional than decontextualized copying or tracing. Signing in at the beginning of the day, signing up for various jobs or lunch, and signing out as you're leaving the room. For students with significant physical disabilities, look for ways to provide them the opportunity to write their names letter by letter, including access to switches, magnets, or using partner-assisted scanning through the alphabet. When students are practicing their name, do not ask students to correct or recopy their name. It should not be a tracing task. Adults should, however, at the end, provide the correct model. And hop on my hand is much more effective than hand over hand when helping a child learn the motor process for writing their name. Let's take a look at some resources that can help adults engage in shared writing activities with young children. Let's take a look at Tar Heel Reader, which can be found at tarheelreader.org. Tar Heel Reader is a collection of free, easy-to-read, accessible books on a wide range of topics. You can also write your own books using Tar Heel Reader. It draws from the huge collection of images at Flickr or pictures that you upload. Let's take a look at how to write a book. The first thing I need to do is find pictures. So I can type in something that the class is interested in writing about, maybe dogs, and click search. It's going to pull up images from the website Flickr that we can use. I can start with looking at these, and we would, of course, as a class, discuss what picture do we want. Do we want to use that dog? Yes, let's pick that dog. I can decide, or we can decide, to add it to the book, and then say, should we look for more dogs? More dogs! Oh, that one looks the same. Should we find another one? more dogs, a different dog. Oh, they're sleeping dogs. Should we add the sleeping dogs to the book? Let's add them to the book. Should we find more dogs for our book? And click Next. Oh, they're still sleepy. Let's find another dog. Next. Oh, they look so cute. We'll add those to the book. More dogs. Let's see more. That's a brown dog. Let's add him to the book and find more dogs. Oh my goodness, that one is so fluffy. We'll add that dog to the book. Should we look for more? And we'll add one more to the book. So when we have the images that we want, we can go ahead and add a short sentence for each page. So the title can be I. We're going to capitalize the letter I. It's the first word in our sentence. And when we write the title of a book, all of the words are capitalized. Like. I-L-I-K-E. Like. Dogs. I like dogs. The author can be Mrs. Poss's class, and we'll choose English as our language. So let's go ahead and enter a short sentence for each page. We're going to click on that, and it will allow us to go ahead in and say, I like dogs. This dog is black and white. We can click to go on to the next. Somebody using a switch would be able to help navigate from page to page using their switches. I like dogs. These dogs are sleepy. And again, next. I like dogs. These dogs are waiting. And we'd continue with our shared reading with the group, our shared writing with the group. I like dogs. Tell me about this dog. This dog is brown. What should we start with? I like dogs. This dog is... Somebody help me. Tell me a word to describe this dog. Fluffy. I like dogs. What describes this dog? You're right. He's white. This dog is white. And I think that's the end of the pages that we have. We'd continue to go on, and we'd need to either save it as a draft or publish it. We can go ahead and categorize our book first. Animals and nature would be a good description. Let's make our audience rating E for everyone. We can discuss the type of beginning literacy framework that it is, and this would be a transitional book. We have that repeated line, repeated words, as opposed to for someone who is already able to independently read on their own. And we can tag it with dogs. And we can go ahead and choose to publish it if we were ready. Takes just a moment.
I like dogs.
And it is ready to go. This is available for others to see, so we have written for a real audience as well. It's completely switch accessible.
I like dogs. This dog is black and white.
And we can choose to have the speech on or off. If I hit my back button, I can get to my settings and make decisions about having speech silent, about having the colors. The page color could be white. The text color could be black. Along with whether we want to download this book as a PowerPoint or an EPUB. And we are good to go with our book from Tar Heel Reader. If I want to go and find a book, I can look in My Books, and it will come right up along with any other books that I have written. I can also go and find additional books written by others. Pictello, an iOS app from Assistiveware, is another excellent resource for creating shared writing experiences. Let's take a book that we've already started, Morgan's Name Book. Using a name as the basis for writing text is again highly engaging and presents a student with letters of the alphabet that they are already likely familiar with.
Morgan's Name Book.
So we've got one page, M. M is for messy. And we've got O. O is for orange. But let's go ahead in and edit this book. So we're going to choose Edit. We're going to use the wizard mode. We're going to edit a page, and let's go to that O. And why don't we change that picture and take something from our photo library. Let's choose orange and use that and go on to next. And we can put O as our top label and write our text together as our bottom label. O. Space.
I-S.
Is. Space. 4. F.
O. R.
O is for orange.
O. R. A. N. G. E.
And we need a period at the end of the sentence. We can continue on to the next and decide, do we want to have a voice, make a recording, or have no sound at all? This would be a wonderful opportunity in a shared writing experience to have the student make the recording. O is for orange. O is for orange. And go on next, and we can continue to add pages. Let's add one more page. Choose a picture from the photo library. The next letter in the word Morgan, M-O-R. R is for rabbit. Let's pick rabbit. Hit our next button. Put in our top label. R. Let's put in the letter R. Put in our bottom label. R. Space.
I-S.
Is.
F-O. R.
4.
R. A. B. B. I. T.
And we need punctuation. Let's put in a period. Doing this with the student, you would likely give them the opportunity to figure out how to spell the word. They might not spell rabbit, R-A-B-B-I-T. They might hear r, or they might hear the b, rabbit. In a shared writing opportunity, you would give them the ability to put down the text that they want, not what the adult knows is correct. Afterwards, there might be the opportunity then to fill in the correct writing. A few features to know about Pictello is that under the Settings tab, you have a number of different choices. We have Speak as you type selected right now by letter, but we could have had that turned off, had it speak by word. Speak by letter was important in this instance so that the child who's doing the writing can get that feedback about the letter that they're choosing. We can also configure switches, which can only be used when playing back a story, not for during the writing. But as you can see, we could use one switch or two switch for students who have the need for that due to their physical disabilities. We're almost finished writing Morgan's book. We've got one last page to write, and I want to be able to show you a great resource for copyright-free images that you can use when you're writing with students. Unsplash.com has wonderful high-resolution pictures. So for N, we could pick nest. We've got some beautiful images that we can use for nest. I really like that one with the blue robin's eggs. I can copy that image, save that image to my photos. We can go back into Pictello, choose a picture for this last page. Get our picture of the nest, put that one on in. Go ahead and add our text. N is for nest. What does nest sound like? Nest. N, nest. And again, a student might not hear that E and might choose to put just the letters that they hear in instead. We can click next, finish up our book, be done with the story, and let's go ahead and take a look.
Morgan's name book.
M is for messy. O is for orange. R is for rabbit. A is for angry. N is for nest. And our book is done. And we have the option to read that story again or go back to our library. Poetry provides many options for shared writing. 9-word poems, which are adapted from Caroline Musselwhite, are a fabulous way to engage your class in shared writing. Pick a topic and then work with your students to define it by writing 3 nouns or things that you see, 3 verbs or things that you do, 3 adjectives, adverbs, or interjections, things that you feel or say. You can see here how our students were able to write a poem about the beach. And students who are using augmentative communication were able to use their augmentative communication devices. We have Proloquo to Go here as an example, to contribute to the poem, where they are able to use wave, sand, and water, and describe their actions with splash, build, and float. And then describe how they felt with happy, hot. We also need to provide students with the opportunity to and the tools to enable them to engage in independent writing. So we're going to take a look at a web-based and iOS-based app called WriteReader. It provides ease of adding images. After the student writes, the adult can add the transcribed text as a model, and students can record their own reading or add dialogue. This is WriteReader on the web. A student can start by clicking on the image button to be able to easily choose from a set of preloaded images. You can scroll across without having to read and find something that's going to match the topic that we've decided to write on. You can go in and independently choose an image, click Save, and it's added to his page. The student can then independently write the text. So whether they are pool, using initial and final sounds, doing some scribbling, or even at a point in their emergent writing where they are able to add some words that perhaps they already know how to spell. The adult can come in after the student has finished their independent writing and add the text that the student intended to write. The student can also record what they want. The boy is in the pool. The boy is in the pool. And the educator can transcribe it right here. Watch how I'm going to write that. The boy is in the pool. You wrote pool, and I wrote pool. You wrote boy, and I wrote boy. The student can easily go in and read their book, including hearing their recording. The boy is in the pool. And go back and return to do additional editing if they'd like. The book can be printed and downloaded, or it can be shared via a link to share with friends and family. There are lots of low-tech options for independent writing as well. One of those is Remnant book writing. This can seem similar to squishy books, but these are written by the student, either dictated or with the written text showing wherever that student is on the emergent writing continuum. The student chooses objects that are of high interest. It can be souvenirs, objects from activities, a nature walk, a science experiment, and those objects provide tactile and auditory interest based on what the student decides to include in their book. Because of that auditory and tactile component, Remnant books can be excellent resources for students with visual impairments to show their skills as emergent. A low-tech strategy to provide students with significant physical impairments access to the alphabet is to use an alphabet eye gaze system. This is a color-coded system where the student looks at the selection with the letter they wish to write and then looks at the color of the letter. The communication partner confirms each selection and writes each selection. For example, if the student wanted to write the word boy, they would first look at the purple section. The communication partner would confirm, that's where the B is, and then the student would look at the yellow section to indicate that the letter within that purple section that they want is the B. The communication partner would confirm and write the letter B. The student would then look at the green section, have that confirmed by the communication partner that that is where the letter is, and then look at the red section to indicate that they want the letter O. Again, confirmed by the partner and written down. Finally, the student would look at the red section, have that confirmed by the communication partner, and then look at the blue section to indicate that the letter that they want is in blue. That would be confirmed and written, and the student would choose finish to indicate that they were finished with that word, or add space to indicate that they wanted to go on and write another word. Finally, let's make sure that we are encouraging writing everywhere, not just during writing time, not just as you're writing in a morning meeting. In the Science Center, provide clipboards to record observations. In the Block Center, have letters on blocks so that children can create words. Have graph paper to draw blueprints of designs, and craft sticks for students to be able to create road signs. Include a label maker. In dramatic play, have shopping lists, create a menu, prescription pads, writing letters in the post office. And for outdoor play, make sure there's sidewalk chalk magnifying glasses and notepads to record observations or create a map, and be able to paint with water. In the sensory table, have sandpaper letters or magnetic letters as an option. There are so many different ways and places that young students can be given the opportunity to develop their writing skills.
Thank you for watching this webinar. For more information on the ATP Education Program, please visit our website at atp.nebraska.gov or email us at atp.education@nebraska.gov.